With the first pick in the 2010 NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select John Wall from the University of Kentucky.
Porter can't find anybody. Gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for three. John Wall! What a shot! You talk about a pressure shot.
The Washington Wizards have agreed to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole and 2 future draft picks.
In the current NBA, there are 3 types of NBA teams. The title contenders, like the Celtics or the Nuggets. These teams are expecting to win a chip in the next year because their team is ready. We have the dark horses, like the Pacers or the Cavs. These teams are on the end of their projects with some young core that is having enough maturity to go get a run in the playoffs. And we have the rebuilding teams, like the Spurs or the Pistons. These teams are creating a project with a young team with some potential that is expected to win a championship in the next 5 or plus years. In general, these teams have a clear project, an identity, a way to play that make we say that it's just a matter of time. The Washington Wizards are a rebuilding team, so we are expecting them to have some players to develop, to build around, with the 11th youngest team on the NBA and the 3rd youngest NBA player, Bilal Coulibaly. Can we say that the Wizards have a clear project of developing a team with an identity, with future franchise heroes, or are they just crashing into a wall? To analyze the team, I ranked all the players in 4 categories. The garbage time for the players that play 8 or less minutes per game. The really good players that should not be in the team right now. We have as well the rebuilding foundation for the players that seem to be an important piece for the next years. And we have the actual franchises players. Isaiah Livers. Isaiah is 25-year-old. I don't expect anything, as he will certainly not play because they already have a lot of players in the small forward, power forward position with Kyle Kuzma, Deni Avdija, Patrick Baldwin Jr. or even Anthony Gill. He doesn't excel at anything, but he's bad at nothing too. Another point for me to think that he will not be in the rotation is that he's in a rookie contract till the end of the year. So I don't think the Wizards are going to re-sign him. Hamidou Diallo. Just like Isaiah Livers, he's a really good player, but doesn't have potential and isn't a game changer for the Washington Wizards so far. He's at the moment a 10-day contract and he plays in the garbage time, so I mean we don't care, respectfully. Jules Bernard. He's a 2-way contract that doesn't play a lot. Really few minutes. He's an already old rookie with 24 years old and hasn't shown anything at the moment. He will certainly be cut or sent to the G League really soon. Eugene Omoruyi. He's a relatively old player that will not serve to anything for the Wizards. He doesn't have potential, play all the garbage time, and he doesn't excel at anything. He will surely be cut or sent to G League. Anthony Gill. Gill is a vet that doesn't play a lot, but is so precious to have. He is always the first one that we see at the timeout, going to cheer everybody. He always gives everything that he has when he enters the court. He's very useful for the Wizards when they have some injuries. He's a really good vet to help the young players, but just play the garbage time. Ryan Rollins. Another player that only plays the garbage time. Again, he's young, has some potential, but he has some issues to enter the rotation because at the point guard position, the Washington Wizards have a complete roster with Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole or Dylan Wright. In my opinion, he should enter it. He seems to be a good outside shooter that feels confident when he has the ball. He can organize when he have the occasion to. But, I mean, the maximum that he plays is 12 minutes, so... Jared Butler. Butler is the most confident player that comes off the bench in the garbage time. Because yeah, that's yet again a player that averaged 40 claps and 4 1 per game. We have the impression that he has nothing to do in the garbage time. He's confident with the ball in his hand, he's a great defender, a great organizer, a good scorer. We feel like he can do everything. The only time that he really played was when he played 19 minutes and did 12 points, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals at 71% shooting. The only problem for him is that the Washington Wizards already have 3 players for point guard position, but he deserves to play real minutes, even if it means that the other point guards see their minute drop. Patrick Bolden Jr. PBJ is an excellent 3-point shooter, that's all. Johnny Davis. No, just kidding. He can be useful in a contender team just like Duncan Robinson does. He's 21 years old, but the Washington Wizards cannot build around him. Above all, he doesn't play. That's surprising for the Wizards. Johnny Davis. One of the biggest disappointments of the recent years. He was one of the youngest players of this draft, was drafted in 8th position.
What about his rookie season? I mean, he should play a lot.
28 games.
Did he have some injuries?
No. The coach just didn't want him to play because we already have Bill and Kispert in front of him in the rotation.
This season he should play a lot.
No, still don't play.
So why doesn't he play more?
Because the franchise is just drafting players to don't play them. This guy has a lot of talent. Whenever he plays, we don't even remark that he's a player that is not supposed to play. A great scorer with a good shoot, a good dribble, athleticism, but well, the Wizards don't want to play a sophomore that is 21 years old. In my opinion, that should be one of the major players in this season. But instead of that, he's just at the end of the bench, giving some water to Kuz and Poole. And we cannot say that it's because there is Jordan Poole or Tyus Jones at this place, because they were taken this summer, and this summer we already have Davis that should have some minutes this season. My only hope is that he's under contract with the Wizards until 26. By then, he maybe can enter the rotation. Now, let's take a look at all the players that are really good, but just not made for the Washington Wizards. Landry Shamet. Shamet is typically the kind of player that shouldn't be on the team. He's wasting his career, but also the career of all the youngsters that are behind him in the rotation. He isn't useful for the system, he's really good but doesn't have anything to do in the rebuilding team like the Wizards. He isn't traded before the deadline, that would be just horrendous and that would just prove that the Washington Wizards don't have a project. Dylan Wright. Just as Shamet, he's taking all the minutes from the guy that has some potential. I really love this guy, like really. He has an incredible game, he's just a pure defender, but just as Landry, he has nothing to do in the 27th seed. Wright is the kind of player that every contender team wants. Like, I could just simply imagine him in a Nuggets jersey or a T-Wolf jersey. It's a player that just needs to go before the deadline, because even if he's a great mentor, he just takes all the minutes of the youngster that we say before. Tyus Jones. Jones is an interesting player like Shamet or Wright. I think that Jones is an excellent player. He's really smart, really mature, he's efficient. He has everything that a team wants from the point guard. Listen to it, Jordan. He's one of the leaders in the league in assist turnover ratio. He just excels at shooting with 42% from 3 and 52% from the field. He could make everyone shine around him if the two others weren't here. They're just attracting all the balls and every action passes by at least one of them. He will be free agent at the end of the year, so I think that he will not resign because of this season that the Wizards are making. Too bad for the Wizards because it's one of the best players that they had in the recent years, but he didn't come at the right moment. So now we are going to talk about the foundation of the rebuild. Marvin Bagley. The second choice of the 2018 NBA draft by the Kings, before Trey, before Luka, before JJJ, before Shai, before MPJ, never played more than 48 games in a season. He had a lot of injuries, but so far for the Wizards, he could be a great option in offense. He could play a pick and roll game with Tyus or Poole to maybe make Poole make some pass, or just changing the way that the Wizards play with some key points. He made a really good first game against New York, even if Hartenstein had 17 rebounds on his head, but he was our only center on the rotation, so that's just logic. He's an old school center that just doesn't know how to shoot, with 114 3-points in his career, but he's just efficient at the rebound and in the inside. He's not an excellent defender, but he's 6'10", so that makes him a great intimidator. Corey Kispert. Kispert is an excellent catch and shooter, but this season he changed his game a little bit and we are seeing him drive a little bit more than the previous year. Even if he is 25 years old, I think that he should have an important place in our rebuild as the kind of player that every contender wants, just like KCP or Sam Hauser or Malik Beasley, Grayson Allen, etc. But after all, if a contender wants him, just like the Wolves, because they don't have this kind of player that just catch and shoot, and they are just making a great offer for us, I will not say no, because he's 25 years old, so he will not be KD. Daniel Gafford. Gafford is one of the most underrated players in the league right now. Just like Corey Kispers, that's the kind of player that every team wants in their team. Just like Zubac or DeAndre Jordan or even Archenstein if we call the Knicks counter the team. He can do everything that old school pivot can do. He's a great screen assister, the third of the league. He's an excellent key shooter. Quite a fifth of the time he will just dunk on your head. He will block you whenever you approach his key because that's just his paint. And he will just take all the rebounds that came into his hand. At 25 years old, I want to see him as a part of the project that we are building. That's an ideal player for every NBA team. Bilal Coulibaly. I think that's the moment that all the Washington Wizards fans that are watching the video are just waiting, because Bilal Coulibaly is supposed to be the heart of the project that we are building. I said in theory, because just like I said in intro, Bilal is the third youngest player in the whole league. Just by saying that, you know that he has a huge potential. He was announced after his draft like the future franchise player in 4 or 5 years. He had the confidence to wear the number 0 that belonged to Gilbert Arenas. Everything destined to become a great player. The front office are showing confidence because he's playing more than 26 minutes every night. It's an excellent defender, a really good catch and shooter. He's able to explode whenever he's running. He already had some highlights, some performances with one game at 20 points, a double-double, a game with 4 steals. He do everything that I want him to do. He's playing, he seems to have fun, but on the other hand, what makes me angry is that he's the heart of the project, right? So I was waiting from him that he got a little bit, more balls in games. In offense, he's rarely, if not never, the heart of the system. Already that we don't use system, when we use them, can we please include him? I'm saying we like I'm a part of the team because I'm just a die-hard Wizards fan. Because what he do is just, he's running in defense, give all he got to stop their best player. And in offense, he's just sitting in the corner waiting for the ball, looking at Kuzma and Poole play their 1v1 like just they are in the street. It hurts because, like I said, he's the heart of the project, and our key piece never took more than 13 shots a game with 27 minutes average. Like, even Jaquez from the Heat took more shots, and Jaquez is just 4th or 5th option from the team that is a contender team. We are in rebuild, and Bilal is supposed to be, in terms of stats, the 4th or 3rd option in offense. Give him the ball, let him cook! That's all for the rebuild pieces. Now let's take a look at the 3 franchises player that we have right now. Deni Avdija. Avdija is 23 years old, he's progressing season after season, he's good at everything, he can organize, he can shoot the ball, he can dunk, he can handle, but he excels at 2 things, the defense and driving. He's starting to take all his responsibilities, he's just taking shots, he's organizing the whole game very well, he already has more assists than Jordan Poole, he's taking some rebounds, he's shooting efficiently. He is and should be a key part of the rebuild. Before the season starts, I wanted the team to give him the keys of the truck. And today, I still want it. He's a really smart player that can leave the team, I'm sure about it. He's the kind of Swiss knife that can become a player just like Jimmy Butler is. I want him at short term, and he should be a part of the long term. Jordan Poole. Poole is doing everything that I expected him to do. He takes almost 15 shots a game to score only 17 points. His shot decision is catastrophic, he doesn't leave the ball whenever he has it, and he's not capable of defense. Whenever he has the ball, you just have few chances of sit back. Except if he's really well defended. Because yeah, even if it's just really well defended, he will just shot. You need to really see him struggle to give you the ball. I'm not blaming him for that because we bring him just to do that. Last year we had Bill, Porzingis and Kuzma that took all the shots. And this year we asked Poole and Kuzma to take all the shots that Porzingis, Bill and Kuzma took. Last year, Bill has taken 17.6 shots. You will say that it's 3 more shots, but Bill scored 6 more points. This year he didn't have a single reference game, except for this 30-point game, but we were expecting better from him. Today, at 24 years old and with the start of this season that he gave to us, he should not be a part of the rebuild because he is just hiding every other people behind his back. He's playing just like Bill, but in worse. Wizards fans were tired of Bill during 3 full years, and now that he's gone, We just got the same player, but in worse. Oh dear. Kyle, how can I tell you? I feel like I will say all the things that I say to Pool to you. You take too much shots that aren't even good. You are forcing everything, you are not defending, like...
Pascal's like, hey, here we go. Kuzma's like, let's challenge it. And then it's a 5-on-4 power play. They move it around, and Scotty B just goes right to the rim.
Yeah, no doubt about it, but you're more concerned about challenging the play.
And what is the height of all of that? You just criticize Detroit on Twitter, but at least win the game that we are playing 2 weeks after. Kuzma and Poole are just touching the ball 6 seconds per possession. That is just a quarter of the possession. That's insanely high because none of them are a point guard. And I hear you say behind your screen,
Oh, Poole is a point guard.
no, Poole played 83% of the season as a shooting guard, and they aren't some incredible scorers like Luka or Joel that are averaging that. The problem isn't that they are touching it 6 seconds, because 6 seconds isn't that much. So that's all for the Washington Wizards roster. Now let's take a quick look at the coaching staff. Just like too much seasons, we don't have a single identity offensively, defensively. Even if I like the idea to bring in more zone defense. Scott Brooks was the problem. Scott Brooks walked so Wes Unseld could run. We are a rebuilding team. He's not playing. All the youngsters, like, what? We are just drafting like noobs. The only time that we are drafting some good player in the second round, what did we do? We let him go back to Europe. Obviously, I'm talking about Tristan Vukcevic. Last year, across the draft, we were missing a center. In my opinion, we would just trade, but the front office didn't do that. So we just took Bilal, so I was really happy because I'm French and he's French. And in the second round, we drafted a Serbian guy, Tristan Vukcevic. He's an excellent player that could have some minutes, a responsibility, because we just didn't have a single center except Daniel Gafford.
So what did we do? We are just signing him.
No, get back to Europe, go back to the Partizan and play some games. We didn't sign him because the front office didn't think that we need that kind of player. But so we need him. We need him. He's a great stretch 5 like we need. He's shooting really well, efficiently. He's 20 years old. In short, we have yet again thrown a draft pick right into the bin.
Okay. One. Okay. Okay.
So concretely, what do I think about it? I think that my team, the Washington Wizards, aren't like all the other rebuilding teams. We don't have any youngsters to really build around him. Like the Spurs got Wembanyama, the Pistons got a group of young players and an excellent coach. They have Monty Williams as the coach with Ivy, Kay, Durant, Thompson. The Blazers have Scoot Anderson, they have Shaedon Sharp, or even Anthony Simons. And the Hornets have LaMelo and Brandon Miller. And us, who do we get? 2 players in their prime that are just not top players. We have some youngsters that just aren't playing. And we just don't have a lot of draft choices. So I think that we don't have a clear project. We don't have project. The problem with us is that our roster don't have potential. Our scouts are good, but they are just not going at the end of the idea. Like sign guys when we need them. And even when they are just signed, just like all the youngsters that I said in the garbage time, they are just not playing because, Mike Muscala is in the rotation, you know, Taj Gibson is there, Danilo Gallinari is there. The only positive point that I can find is that we have some cap space. So if a really good player wants to come, that just will not happen. We can just build a contender team right now. Because yeah, I am not afraid to say that, but at every post that we have excellent role players. Kispert, Tyus Jones, Daniel Gafford, Denny Avdia, Bilal Coulibaly, Landry Shamet, Dylan Wright. If we can just trade Poole and Kuzma for a top player, that would be ideal, but that will never happen. And these two have an insane contract until 2027. One other good point is that we are in pace to become one of the worst teams in the league right now. So we are going to have a great draft pick. The 2024 NBA draft isn't like the 2023 with Wemby, with Scoot, with Brandon Miller. But at the moment, the last NBA mock draft showed us that two Frenchies are on the top of it. Zachary Rizaché and Alex Sarr. These two Frenchies could fit the team. Who doesn't want a French connection with Bilal? Who knows? But we shouldn't be that happy, because if the pick is after the 12th position, that would just be so unlucky. The pick goes to New York. We also have the 2024 first round pick from the Phoenix Suns that aren't making a great season. We could possibly have a top 3 pick. If we are able to draft really well and take all the players smartly, we can create something. But in the other hand, if all the project is on the back of Poole and Kuzma, we ain't going to anything until they are just showing us wrong.
So, if you are that smart, how could you?
Trade Poole, trade Kuzma, or at least one of them, for some first round picks and some players with high potential. I mean, the Raptors did it with Anunoby out, with Pascal Siakam out, with Van Vliet out, and they are just rebuilding now around Scotty Barnes. Why could we not do that around Deni Avdia or Bilal Koulibaly? Why? But at the moment, who wants Kuzma? I read some articles that say that the Kings were interesting, the Pacers, but with Siakam I don't think so. The Mavericks could, but I don't think about it. And Poole, who wants him? Not a single team, except for the Warriors that are just nostalgic of Poole and Curry. The only trade that could happen before the trade deadline would be Shamet, Wright, even Kispert of Avdia if great offers. I think that the solution for it is trade. With some chances, we could draft some young players, like I said before, that can become some great players like Rizaché or Sarr. But it's just too early to talk about it, because we are just saying that, and they can fall really down in the mock draft, just like Emily Bates did last year. If we think about the 2025 NBA draft, there is Cooper Flag that seems to be a generational talent, but yeah, I mean, except for Bilal, nobody here has the potential to keep the franchise in the right way.